and Bu Asti for the third, and the last Mbak Dini. Yeah. Okay. So if there are time, I will tell about my research too. But I think it's not important. Just panelists only lah. Okay, Mr. Zia. Mas Zia, kita mulai atau?
Iya, nggak apa-apa. Sekalian langsung dimulai. Sekalian diundang untuk teman-teman atau untuk rekan-rekan atau mahasiswanya mungkin bisa diundang untuk masuk ke room ini, nggak masalah. Nggak apa-apa.
Panelisnya bisa dijadikan langsung sebagai co-host biar nanti bisa share screen sendiri.
Iya, saya jadikan co-host sekalian.
Iya.
Oke. Monggo Bu Amirah, selaku Chair, dipersilahkan untuk memulai.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zia. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Alhamdulillah, puji dan syukur pada Allah Subhanahu wa taala, salawat dan salam pada junjungan kita Nabi besar Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Thanks for the committee of ITIS and greeting for our panelists, Dr. M.E.M. Jazil from Sri Lanka, and then Professor Dr. Sri Milvayeti, MS Con SC, Psychology Education and Guidance Counseling, Professor from State of Medan University, Indonesia, Honorable Dr. Asti Meiza MC, Lecturer, Psychology Faculty, UIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung, Indonesia, and then Miss Dini Dwi Kusumaningrum, researcher. Miss Dini Dwi Kusumaningrum, researcher from Indonesian Institute of Science, Jakarta, Indonesia, or we call that LIPI. First of all, I want to tell about our panels. Subtheme from our panel is about education, religion, life science, and public policy. The title of this panel is Redefining Islamic Value in Muslim School as the Core of Society Development to Restore the Glory of Islam in Asia. And thank you so much for the committee, Mr. Zia, for this occasion for us to present our panels. I want to tell about curriculum vitae from each of panelists. For the first time, we give time for Dr. M.E.M. Jazil. He is a senior academic, is the head of Department of Islamic Studies of South Eastern University of Sri Lanka. He obtained his PhD in leadership study from National University of Malaysia. Now, he holds a Master of Art and Bachelor Honor Degree of Arts from the University of Peradeniya. And his research interest lies in Islamic dakwah and leadership, Muslim minority, Islamic education, its role in pluralistic society, and contribution for national development. He is the author of books, several articles and research, and he has presented his research work at national and international academic conference. He is the chief editor of Sri Lanka Journal of Arabic and Islamic Studies and has edited and co-edited the proceeding published by faculty and university. They have research guide and scholars, and you can search in the Google. And time for Mr. Jazil to present his paper and his research about the school curriculum of Islam in promoting social harmony and coexistence in Muslim minority context, the case of Sri Lanka. Time is yours, Mr. Jazil.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Chairperson and co-panelists and ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start this session with Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Peace be upon all of you. Yeah, it gave me pleasure to share my experience, research experience, and research finding with the academics like you. Actually, this is a great opportunity to share our Sri Lankan experience. With you. I think you have a prominency in this area, especially moderate thinking through the promoting moderate thinking through the education. Actually, my presentation is on about our school curriculum available here in Sri Lanka. How far this curriculum is promoting social harmony and coexistency among the Muslim. We are minority here, second largest minority, Sri Lanka. You may aware of the Sri Lanka that Sri Lanka is a small island, Buddhist majorities. We are second largest minority in a plurality country. Sri Lanka is a country with a multi-ethnic and multi-language and religion. So we have 4 religion, 4 languages, and so many ethnic groups. In Sri Lanka, we have Malay community also, but very few in percentage. Yeah, you might heard about we had now, we can say, ethnic tension for last 3 decades. There was an internal war also between the Tamil community and Sinhalese community. This type of the war, internal war, created tension among us, and this collapsed our trust each other. So there is a disharmony. We have to agree on it among the ethnic groups we have in Sri Lanka. So there are effort is made to build peace and harmony among the ethnic group. As you know, the education is very important to develop the peace and make use of the education to establish harmonious relationship between the communities in Sri Lanka. But it is fortunate we have in Sri Lanka free educational system from primary to the university. Our university also providing education free for, and not only education but also textbook and other type of the stipend also provided to the student free of charge. So it is we can use of the education system. We can incorporate fees component or social harmony element in our education through the to develop the harmony relationship among the community. So my intention of the research study is to look into the curriculum provided for the school from secondary level. At secondary level, it means from grade 6 to 11 in Sri Lanka, but Islam is taught from grade 1 to grade 13. 12 and 13 is advanced level. So I am looking into the secondary level from grade 6 to 11. So we, as you know, the school curriculum, school is a prominent place. We can develop I think we develop the correct and needed attitude among the students to make them to develop their relationship, body relationship with the other community. We need it actually. That's why my main purpose of the study is that main purpose of the study to analyze at what extent the above concept, this concept, peace, social coexistency, human dignity, recognizing cultural diversity, natural and balanced thinking, incorporated in the curriculum. This is my prime objective of the study. So from grade 6, I looked into my methodology I applied here. Actually, this is type of the study is qualitative approach I applied, but I have used elementary quantitative data. I will show it. Actually, this is not a mixed methodology, but I use it for the to strengthen my finding, some data analysis from quantitative. And other things, actually, this study is based on the reviews of the syllabus we have at the school level and teachers' instructional manual and textbook of the Islam in the school curriculum. So I've got an assistance researcher. I involved them to identify the above themes or concept. I already mentioned this concept, how far incorporated in this area, especially in the lesson, in the ILO. And when we look into the syllabus and teachers manual, our syllabus and curriculums are based on the outcome base. They have already identified the integral learning outcomes, and I asked my research assistant look into the syllabus to identify the themes or the key concept. So actually, this study is based on the content analysis of the syllabus. Based on this methodology, we found these type of the results. The textbook and teachers manuals did not prefer these concepts directly and specifically. This is my first result. But there is a concept, we can find it indirectly highlighted or addressed in the ILOs and lesson identified for this graded from grade 6 to 11. But the most of the lessons and ILOs are focused on coexistency. Relatively, the large number of the lessons focus on the coexistency rather than other themes or key concepts. But the peace and harmony also highlighted, social cohesion also highlighted with this lesson and ILOs. So when we look into this table, this is the data analysis based on the how many lesson, how many total number of the lesson, or total number of the ILOs identified for the grade 6 and each grade from 6 to 11. So we have around 179 lesson and 549 ILOs. Among these numbers, very few lessons and ILOs are addressed or about the identified or selected themes from peace and harmony to the balance and moderate thinking. So out of the these large number of the lessons, very few numbers are identified this kind of the things. But you see, when we look into the overall construction or the overall, if you look into the type of the syllabus and textbook, we can identify these. Most of the lessons are based on the national goals national educational goals. We have 8 national educational goals. One of the goals is directly related to our research study, our research question we did. That is national building and establishment of Sri Lankan identity through the promotion of the national cohesion, national integrity, national unity, harmony, and peace. So, according to the report provided for us, the subject of the Islam provided within the school curriculum from grade 6 to 11. For the percentage of the coverage of this area is good according to the report. But all the lesson and ILOs of Islam at the secondary level covers Islamic fundamentals, especially fundamental of the faith. My argument is the fundamental of the faith, fundamental of the Islam to produce the young learners to fulfill Allah right and human rights. So if you look into the Islamic faith, especially the concept of the Tawheed, what it makes us understanding all human beings are equal. We are brother as humans. So this type of the attitude was developed through this the Islam, the lesson of the and ILO of the Islam as a subject. Another things, the most of the lessons and ILOs are concentrate on developing good character and ethical behavior of the learner. So I argue that this type of the attitude, if it is developed in a correct way, will contribute to the coexistency, social harmony, and good relation with the other community. So if we look into the Islamic principle, and there are so many positive things, even though there is a strong criticism about role of religion, and it is major active, conflict active. There is a criticism. If you look into the world scenario, the religion is contributing a lot to the world conflict. Even though my argument is Islamic principle, Islamic fundamentals are, if you teach them in a correct way with a clear understanding, definitely will contribute to the social harmony and peace building. That's why nowadays the peace activities are trying to make use of the religion to contribute to peace building and a conflict reconciliation. Especially in Sri Lanka also, we have many organizations. They are looking into the religious phenomena to contribute the conflict reconciliation, and these organizations are involving the religious leaders, especially like Imam and other religious leaders, to involve in conflict reconciliation process. Okay. Similarly, the larger proportion of the lesson of this level on Islamic ritual practice. If you look into the lesson and ILOs, they are addressing the ritual practice like Salah, fasting, and Hajj, and other type of the ritual. But these also contributing to the peace harmony through it seems to be training the learner to develop the positive sense of the peace. This is my argument. Another aspect is the lesson and ILOs formulated in secondary level in the subject of Islam seems to provide the impressive and inculcate positive attitude towards the concept of the ethnic cohesion. Yeah. In addition to that, there are large number of the lesson yellows identified for the secondary Islam directly address the concept of the coexistency. So this is a very important concept in peace. We are ready to live with the other people and work together to develop the nation and live peacefully in a region. If you look into the Sri Lankan situation, the Muslims are living along with the other community, especially in eastern and northern part of the Sri Lanka. Muslims are living with the Tamil community. In southern part of the Sri Lanka, southern mean other part of the Sri Lanka, they are living with the Sinhalese community. So this type of relation make them to live with them in peacefully and share their good behavior with them. Another planned lesson of the Islamic school curriculum overview the concept of the human dignity. There are few lessons and ILO addressing the human dignity. Yeah. Another things are the cultural, the lesson and ILOs addressing that cultural diversity also very few. The lesson and ILOs addressing the balance and moderate thinkings also. There are some lesson and ILOs, but it's also contributing to the moderate thinking. This type of the thinking definitely will help them to avoid the extremist way of thinking and behavior. Yeah, as a conclusion, I can say the peace and social harmony phenomena at the school level, through the education, there is a way to install the expected learning outcome and lesson to the peace and other identified themes such as harmony, ethnic cohesion, coexistency, human dignity, recognition of the diverse culture, and balanced neutral thinking. Yeah, we can say that we identified lesson and ILOs are to a certain extent concentrate on this. However, there must be a more concentration on this in order to make use of this Islam to contribute a lot to develop the certain attitude and behavior to develop the identified concept. So I recommend my study may contribute to the policy maker and curriculum developer to pay more attention to develop the lesson and identify the learning outcome to promote peace and social harmony in Sri Lanka. So I think Sri Lanka is in the process of developing this type of the attitude and behavior through the school curriculum. But in a higher level, we have to have another studies, university level, another college level education. Thank you very much for your listening.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jazel. Applause for Mr. Jazel, please.
Thank you.
Okay, we have here about how the social harmony and coexistence in Muslim minority in Sri Lanka, yeah. The lesson of Islam in Sri Lanka curriculum. It's very interesting that we know that Islam is in Sri Lanka still minority, different with Indonesia. Muslim in Indonesia is minority. Okay, please close your share screen, please.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jazel. And each of panelists, we have time 20 minutes each others, and then we close our panels with Q&R, yeah. maybe any participant can join with us and can give question and we answer that question. Okay, for the second, we invite Professor Dr. Sri Milvayeti, MS Cons. He will present about innovation in teaching and learning at Islamic kindergarten using creative art. And she is one of my idol because Professor Dr. Sri Milvayeti, one of great professor in psychology and of education and guidance in State University of Medan. She have many experience in conference around the world, from Singapore and then Turkey and then Amsterdam, Kudasi, Izmir, and then Hawaii. Oh, very many experience around the world. Okay, time for Prof. Sri Milvayeti to present her paper. Prof, time is yours.
Thank you. Miss Amira. Can you hear my sound? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Rabbi Shleh Sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. I will start my presentation. The title is Innovation in Teaching and Learning at Islamic Kindergarten Using Creative Art. Okay. I will stop first. This is the wrong. Oh, wait a minute. I will open. Innovation in Teaching and Learning at Islamic Kindergarten Using Creative Art. This is the introduction. Actually, in Medan, North Sumatra, most of the Islamic kindergartens use conventional methods in teaching and learning. They just talking to children and ask children to hear them, and sometimes makes boring to the children. If you see the picture, this is the teacher, and also this is the picture. What is general description about how to change the teaching and learning in kindergarten? Creative arts is a play model developed at the Academy of Play and Child Psychotherapy. This play model looks at children holistically. Playing is carried out to develop physical and motor aspects, communication skills, the ability to understand things, foster social relationship, train emotions, morals and spirituality, creativity, and protect yourself simultaneously and truthfully. This model uses various types of play in an integrated manner. Apart from these, creative art models also provide opportunities for children to explore and control their emotion. Actually, in traditional way, teacher sometimes cannot think about this model. They don't think about how motor aspects, like these physical and motor aspects, the ability to understand things, foster relationship, it's one simultaneous develop. In this creative art, especially in this, I use contact theory proposed by Klein that involves physical, emotional, and metaphor games with creative art using clay will provide a sensation of imagination and metaphor. Actually, in traditional way, we don't use clay, something like puppet or drawing. We use it rare, jarang sekali digunakan. The situation also occurs when the child is in contact with other people. This will foster a child's understanding of himself and a sense of empathy for others. So that learning with creative art will create an atmosphere that involves interaction with other people in the learning process. It is the interconnection that develops an attachment to one another. So this is the strong of learning with creative art. So we'll create an atmosphere that involves interaction with other people. This is the purpose of this model. Using clay as metaphor in creative art and the affected to mind of the children, body and soul stimulated. They understood more about themselves and let others knew about the metaphor of clay. Puppet resulted in interconnection between each others. Process mirroring and matching energy happen in this situation. Children's social competencies as communicating effective empathetically will develop. Creative activity in the classroom that then integrated with teaching activity stimulates self and social development. Children can develop their windows of tolerance. This is the importance of this model. Children can develop their windows of tolerance. What's the analysis methodology? The method used to research and develop a model of work and role. The procedure conducted were preliminary survey to produce instrument to be used in assessing students' need, designing the learning process, implementing and evaluating data will collected. What is the data analysis? First is development of children. Here is the green one is starting to, the orange as expected, and the strong orange very well. We can see in this graph that emotion develop well, physics and movement very well, communication well, creativity and aesthetic well, social and relationship very well, moral and spiritual very well, understanding and thinking well. This is the result of using creative art in teaching and learning. How about the implementation of creative art? First is creative visualization. We use in this project that done good and action is very well, but still in that about 20% cure. Storytelling. We can see here drama, music, dance, art, and sandplay. All of these the tools that you use in creative art. Result analysis. The result of evaluation about children's activities such as storytelling, drama, puppet mask, and movement were found to be good. The metaphor of clay was affected to the mind of children, body and stimulation, understood more about themselves, and let others knew about the motor of clay. This is actually the picture of them when they play with clay. We can see of this how the children in the kindergarten really love with play with clay. Puppet resulted from interconnection between each other. Process mirroring and matching energy happen in this situation, and children competencies as communicate effectively. That creative activity in the classroom that done integrated with teaching activities, stimulate and social development. Conclusion. Using creative arts could be innovate teaching and learning. Project-based learning is used in a week program stimulates children development. So this is the strong model of teaching and learning. In general, two aspects must be considered related to the creative art model in learning, namely the level of service consisting of learning readiness sessions such as creative visualization, picture, music. The direction of learning, which includes speaking, drama, games, slang, plays, and puppets, and that's all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very awesome. Let we give our applause for Prof. Sri Milfayeti. Innovation in teaching and learning at Islamic kindergarten using creative arts. Yeah, it's very interesting, but maybe it can be a debate from other community that say that arts is not Islamic. Yeah, maybe we can discuss about that after this. Okay, next we give chance for Dr. Asti Meiza, MSc. She is a lecturer from Psychology Faculty, UIN Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung, Indonesia. She will present about implementation of Islamic law in children with Down syndrome by shaping and chaining method. I want to tell you about her biography. She is the doctor of mathematics at the Faculty of Psychology. So it's interesting, from mathematics and then a lecturer in Faculty of Psychology, Universitas Islam Negeri, UIN, Sunan Gunung Jati, Bandung, Indonesia. Her expertise research area include mathematical, statistic, and psychometric. She got her graduate till PhD from Mathematics Department, Institut Teknologi Bandung, ITB. Her main interests are mathematical modeling, applied statistics, and quantitative psychology. She has received some awards. The new is one of the 25 best researcher at the biannual conference of research. That's award by Ministry of Religious Affairs Indonesia. Okay, Dr. Asti, time is yours now.
Thank you, Mrs. Amira. I apologize because I changed my title with the new research and
no problem.
You will see this. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Alhamdulillah, today we can meet each other in this virtual meeting. My thanks to Religious Ministry for this event, the 20th Annual International Conference on Islamic Studies. Also thanks to my team, Dr. M.I.M. Jazil. Nice to meet you in this afternoon, even in virtual meeting. Also for Professor Sri Milfayeti, nice to see you. Mrs. Dini, nice to see you. And especially for our chair, Mrs. Amira. Okay, this afternoon I will present my new research that I give a title, Description of Parenting Children with Special Needs in Indonesian Muslim Families during the COVID-19 pandemic. Even my expertise is statistic, but now I want to a different research. I use the phenomenological studies. Okay, this is a special kind of education in Muslim family, the family who has the special need children. Okay, this is my motivation because Allah said in Al-Quran, Surah An-Nisa, verse 9, and fear Allah those who, if they leave behind them weak children, whom they worry about their welfare. Therefore, let them fear Allah and let them speak the truth. Okay, this is my motivation for my research. Who is the special need children? Halal and Kaufman define the children with special need is children who need special education and service to develop all their potential, including children with physical disabilities such as blind, deaf, and speech impaired, children with attention disorder, children with social behavior disorder like autism, and children with the potential for intelligence or special talents, gifted and talents. But how the facts relate in the existence of these children in Indonesia, the low involvement of parents and families in the process of growth and development of children with special needs, especially the therapy process, lack attention from stakeholder, in this case, the government and related institution for equal treatment and welfare of children with special needs. Inclusive school in Indonesia are still expensive. So the parenting for the special needs is mostly important. Law of knowledge and lack of acceptance of Indonesian society toward children with special needs. So you can expect what about the in pandemic COVID-19 that all of learning process go to home for 24 hours at home. Okay. This is the impact of pandemic of children from Kumar and Nair. Kumar and Nair found that during COVID-19 pandemic, it was not only parents who experienced extraordinary challenge. Children also experienced things that had impact of their growth and development. Children at home experience fear about 20%, and children mild anxiety about 20.3%. Moderate anxiety about 2.7%, and severe anxiety about 0.9%. Post-traumatic syndromes about 2.7%, and lost opportunities and socializing with peers outside home. This is the most percent. About 65.26%. This show that the impact of pandemic of children in indeed not kidding, qualitatively and quantitatively also contribute by the factor of parents as their children, as teacher and caregivers during school at home. Okay. Really? This is related to children whom we meet during this pandemic. The children is gloomy, exhausted, and angry. And it is also, but parents also many burdens of life. Mom must continue to carry out her work-related matters. On the other hand, the task of educating her children is also her full responsibility. Chaos? Yes, of course. There are many chaos in our house. Would parents be okay to carry out their role of parenting? Oh, okay. I'm interested in taking the closer look what a parenting practice are carried out about parents, especially those with special need children during this pandemic. It has to be early. Under normal circumstances, raising special children is not easy, especially during a pandemic. Okay. I use the dysfunctional parenting scale from Arnold and a friend that consists of 30 items with scoring from 1 to 7 to measure the dysfunctional parenting in discipline situation. Okay, who are the research subject? Because this phenomenological study, I measure the 17 parents who have children with special needs. Okay, you see the demographic data from my research subjects. The parents have age between 38 years old to 63 years old, and the parents' education from elementary to postgraduate, and the number of children from 1 to 6 children. Okay. Okay, this is my result. I found that 26% parents be in the state of lackness, 22% experiencing a state of overactivity, 27% experiencing verbosity, and 25% other kinds of dysfunctional parenting. It was found that verbosity was the most dysfunctional type of discipline experienced by parents in parenting during the pandemic. Okay, this is the data. Okay, what is the verbosity? Orang Indonesia bilangnya cerewet. Verbosity, more words. Okay, verbosity shows that there is an ineffective communication pattern, so that in parenting, parents feel they have to use more words, not that may not actually be needed. Okay, you see these kids with her moms, more words, but the kids like acuh, cuek in Indonesian language. Okay. Yeah. Does verbosity solve the problem? Okay, of course not. Yeah, that is why Arnold and friend put it in the category of dysfunctional parenting. Okay, this is the illustration. What is the verbosity? When I tell my child not to do something, okay, in the smallest score, 1, I only burned once. but the score more greater, blah, 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 blah. I forbid many times. This is an illustration what is verbosity. Okay. Dysfunctional parenting, parents are in a difficult situation. So behavior that occurs in human praxis is manifestation of his belief in God, because the relationship between psychology and religion is a complex relationship. Okay. Yes, parents during a pandemic are actually not much different from children. Okay, number one, workload increase, yeah, for those who work and those who don't is the same. Number two, economic problems, maybe, probably. And number three, psychological problems, struggling to maintain mental health, adverse bored, exhausted, infant depressed. Number four, communication problem with children and partners, getting too intense. In Indonesian, we know of 4L, lu lagi. So the communication is intense, but it can be more problems from the intense communication, intense interaction. Okay, but Allah will not change the fate of people if the people don't change themselves. So with their hands, Quran said at Surah Arad, verse 11, parents must do something. Action for solution. Always improve the self. Okay, this is the ideal parents that have harness, high fighting power, want to use time effectively with children. Mom, be patient. Definition, strong under unconditional love. Okay, this is the solution I want to offer, the positive parenting. The parents must have action, guide, take care of direct and provision, knowledge, serenity, role model. I will focus for the role model, teladan. What is the role model? In line with words and deeds. Okay, the role model, all good habits done by parents will record by children. Role model in speak, act, think, and behave. And last but not least, children see and feel that God is a place for parents to depend on in all aspects of their lives. Yeah, parents must be back to Al-Quran as the way of life, as the guidance to do everything. Okay, thanks for your attention, hopefully useful. The truth comes from Allah. If there's an error, is from me. Alhamdulillah, amin. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, very interesting. We give applause for Dr. Asti for her awesome presentation, description of parenting children with special need in Indonesian Muslim family during the COVID pandemic, phenomenological study. Okay, thank you, Dr. Asti. And we come to the last panelist. He is a very interesting girl, Her name is Dini Dwi Kusumaningrum. She is a researcher from Indonesian Institute of Science, Jakarta, Indonesia, or we call that LIPI, Lembaga Ilmu Pengetahuan Indonesia,
Yes.
So I want to tell you all about her biography. She has graduated from Sociology Department, University of Indonesia atau UI. She is a researcher. Her research mainly about education and social development, but not limited to the vulnerable and left behind group like Orang Rimba, indigenous people of Papua. So she is now in America. It's very honorable for us. Dini join with us now. So in America now, what time, Miss Dini?
5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning. Oh, yeah. Okay, Miss Dini, time is yours.
Thank you. I will share my screen.
Okay.
Will you able to see clearly?
Okay.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from the US and a good afternoon Indonesia time. I will present manifesting Islamic values on implementing inclusive education in West Papua through the role of the University of Muhammadiyah Sorong, or we call it Unimuda. My name is Dini. I'm a researcher at the National Research and Innovation Agency. We just changed the name a couple months ago. So I'm very honored to be here at the annual international conference on Islamic Studies. Thank you very much for the chair, the fellow panelists, and also ladies and gentlemen who attend this conference. Looking back, why we did this research in Papua, it's very interesting because the role of religious organizations in the education development is a very significant in both Papua and West Papua province. These two provinces are the lowest HDI in Indonesia. They have very poor infrastructure. They are live in very remote areas, and the quality of education are really bad because they have limited number of teachers, and also they do not have enough resources to provide proper, adequate education. So what I look at this West Papua province is that the role of Islam is a very significant, because in the whole Papua, if we look back at the history, the role of Catholic and Christian initiatives has been the majority in the whole Papua Island. However, in the West Papua province, the Islam influence are really significant in developing the education, health services, and other social public services. So we've done this research in 2019. We conducted a research in Sorong for the role of Islamic organizations or influences there for education development. So firstly, I would like to give a background of this West Papua province as general. The access to education is still limited. So I would like to give a picture on the right side. As you can see, the yellow part is the West Papua province. In Papua Island, it is located at the very east of Indonesia, and there are 7 customary regions to categorize or grouping the tribes and the community based on their similarity. because in Papua, there are more than 300 tribes in each district, which has different languages and the way of living. So the anthropologists try to grouping their ethnicity on the similar characteristic in a way that it might easier to develop based on this characteristic. And this yellow part, it's called Domberai. It consists of 10 districts in West Papua province, and it has 400,000 people of population. Generally, in 2008, for the education attainment in West Papua province, it has second lowest HDI in Indonesia, which is 62.99. And then they have the average length of school, it's 9.67 years, which equivalent to the junior high school. And on the other hand, the expectation, it's 12.47 years of schooling, which is equivalent to high school. So this is the statistics number, and the fact it could be worsened. Like when we did the research, there's so many absenteeism of teachers and students at the same time. And the process of learning in the class is actually very limited, and lack of control by the local government or the national government. Thus, it is very important to look at the education development in West Papua, because we see for the demographic structure, the development of primary education is significant, because the demographic structure of Papuan indigenous people, or we call it in Bahasa OAP, is a construction of the young population on the demographic pyramid. At the same time, the school age group, which is 7 till 18 years old, is 14.1%, and the elementary age group is the largest, which is 54%, while youth 7 till 24 years old are 74%. So the young population is the majority of people who lives in West Papua, and we need to develop adequate education provision, because these are the young people who are becoming productive human resources for the country. So they could earn their personal development for themselves to be a productive citizen, as well as they could contribute to the development of country as a whole. Looking back at this HDI index, Papua and West Papua are very low. So that's why the development of education, it's a very critical for the development of the area, for the economic growth, for boosting social integration. As we know that in Papua right now, it has a very high political agenda. Like this region are very politicized, because we still battling with the issue of integration into Indonesia, or segregate to become their own self-country. The debate whether or not to integrate or disintegrate is not important. Like it doesn't matter. It could be a political side discussion. However, it shows that dissatisfaction of the development provided by Indonesia or by the state is not satisfied the people there. They could not earn the quality of education they want. They could not feel or enjoy the same development as people in other islands such as Java or Sumatra, which has very good education provision in terms of infrastructure, the teacher and other resources. So Muhammadiyah is one of the largest in Islamic organization in Indonesia, and it has significant contribution in increasing the education provision and quality of education across the nation. It is well known that Muhammadiyah is very active as a social organization or as a civil society who providing or creating many humanitarian actions for many social assistance, not only education, but also for the development as a whole. Therefore, it is very interesting phenomena to see how Muhammadiyah, as one of these largest Islamic organization in Indonesia, open up primary education school and higher education institution in West Papua with the development, geographical and socio-cultural challenges where there are hundreds of different tribes in languages. So I mainly going to discuss the role of Muhammadiyah on primary education and also for higher education as a University of Muhammadiyah. Because as I interview the rector of University of Muhammadiyah in Sorong, it is very interesting to listen that he wants to build, what do you call it, engagement for all the parents, children, and the young community to be involved in education. So he wants to build such a educated community in Sorong especially, and Western Papua generally. So he wants to build awareness because education not only involving the children at the primary education, but also involving the parents. And when they teach the young population at the higher education, it make them aware of their role in the society, so they could have more access or information to have a better opportunity, to better life opportunity, or they could decide better towards their future. So this is the same old problems related to education provision in West Papua. First, it's about accessibility of education that is not evenly distributed, especially in rural areas, isolated and spread out areas. So in West Papua, Sorong actually categorized as urban area. However, it's still very limited, the access. We can imagine how the learning process or the school operating system in rural areas. Other than Sorong, in a separate research, we've been also conducting research in other remote parts of West Papua, and the condition is the worst than the condition at Sorong. And Sorong could be a role model, or could be a case where education could be the best in West Papua province. So this is make us really wonder how could we as a education society would develop this quality of education better to Papuan people. And number two, they do not have adequate school facilities, infrastructure, or that infrastructure are not yet available in all places, especially the tribes that lives in Warmon, Kokoda. The tribe name is Kokoda. They live in Sorong Regency. It is a very very challenging to organize them, because they are still nomadic. So they moving from place to places. in a way, it's challenging to operate the formal education system there because you won't have the same exact students each 6 months, because the students are going to move at another places. They follow their parents along, and the parents they're moving each season for gathering and hunting and gathering for looking for the livelihood. So I believe that Papua or West Papua province would need a different approach in education, so that the role of any other civil society organizations, it's a very needed in a way to help the government to provide the education, because we could not forcing one formal education system for all places in West Papua. Number 3, the challenge is about education. It's supposed to base on the social cultural basis of Papuan indigenous people or orang asli Papua. However, this has not been implemented, and as a result, the purpose and the meaning of education have not been understood equally by the government, teachers, parents, and students. As I have mentioned before, the government wants to force the formal education because the target of education is achieving higher human development index, or all those numeric statistics like enrollment, education attainment, how many years they've been in school, how many students they enroll in schools. However, for the Papuan people, they do not understand those statistics. What they need is they know how to how to develop their garden, how they could access the education or health services. Can you imagine the literacy is very low, so they could not read or even write their name. So in this kind of situation, how could they go to the hospital? How they could communicate to the doctor if they're not feeling well? They could not speak very well. They could not meet other people. They do not have self-esteem. They think that they're different, and this difference should be answered by stepping the civilization in Western Papua, rather than judging them that they're lazy or they're stupid or they're lower than any other parts of Indonesia. And this debate, it's very hard at the policy making process level, because the government would think that interventions are needed for push the conditions to be better and to contribute to the national economic growth. However, the people in Papua are not ready yet to be there. Like the step, the modernization that they could expecting is not in line with what people in Papua are understand about themselves. So this debate has been very hard, especially upon how the Indonesian government could provide the contextual education for Western Papua people. After this research, we've been circulating this result to the Ministry of Education. We've been discussing with them and how the contextual curriculum can be made for the government to implement this in West Papua. Because with the local curriculum or muatan lokal, as we say in Bahasa, is not enough to accommodate the need of Papuan people, the difference of civilization step, the socio cultural context of how students cannot enroll in the class because they need to go to the garden. They need to go with their father to have working to hunting and gathering, and also they have their own adat education or a custom education, which they would learn about their norms and values for indigenous people. And this adat education or custom education only significant for boys, and girls are not allowed to have this kind of education. So this kind of like social challenges in Papua that we need to consider when we providing education or operating the different system of education system, like formal education, because they're still confused of what education means for them. Why they have to enroll in the class if they need to like know how to garden, they need to know how to harvest. But what we learn at school, it's something different. It's science, it's language, literacy. I do not say that these are not important, but also they should consider other factors that might adequate for education in Papua. And historically, the role of religious institution is very large. So just for example, YPK or Christian organization, YPPK Catholic organization, and YAPIS, which is Islamic organizations, which not only provide general education, but also integratively teach life skill, norms, and value. For example, how some of them are not dressed properly in our perspective, and in a way that, and they do not have a good hygiene. Also, they do not have certain manner. They do not have a concept of time. They do not have a concept of ownership. So if there's something on the table, they would think anyone can take it, or they do not have a sense of identity of themselves. So this is why education in Papua are very challenging, because we cannot do as commonly how we do it, because we need a different approach in which people would engage and understand why they have to enroll in education. So how Uni Muda or University of Muhammadiyah in Sorong manifesting Islamic value without hurting other identities, because it's very diverse in West Papua. So when I interviewed the rector, he said that they try hard to implement the Islamic value on campus. Though they do not explicitly saying that this is Islamic value, but he and all the faculty try to integrate this value into the school culture in a way that people would have sense of belonging without disintegrate themselves between those identities, because whoever in West Papua or in Sorong could enter Uni Muda. Just for example, the picture in the middle, she is a nun, Suster or Biarawati. She is a nun that graduated from Uni Muda. So Islamic and Muhammadiyah values are seen and taught through the multicultural education on the campus by applying the religious teaching towards each student's religion and respecting their beliefs. So they would introduce the thought of Muhammadiyah, the thought of Islam, but they're not forcing them to believe. They're not forcing them to convert or wearing anything Islamic or using any symbol in the campus. So they would just being there, or they could choose to attend the Muhammadiyah session or not. The school culture strongly encouraged in the learning process and environment, because everyone could just enroll in this university and no one could judge anyone in this campus. The minority groups become the immediate attention of the education principle done by Muhammadiyah after release its recommendation of the 47th Muktamar Muhammadiyah in Makassar 2015. This national meeting done by Muhammadiyah resulting in promoting the thought of progressive view of Islam, meaning that Islam is positively respecting the diversity of race, ethnicity, and the culture of all people through the da'wah or Islamic teaching, which is aimed to make life transformations towards progress, justice, and prosperity, and for the benefit of human life, or rahmatan lil alamin, without discriminating against race, ethnicity, class, religion, and other social borders, which supports tolerance and inclusivity. So this is a very good manifesting Islamic value without even forcing people to join or to convert, but we have become a role model. We've become the actor of the agent of change, the actors who try to support tolerance, to promote inclusivity, to being kind to one another for humanitarian purpose. This is also strengthened by Indonesian economist Renal Kasali in 2019, that stated that Muhammadiyah can bring social change in society from the inside without changing its own organizational identity. So I believe that in a way we heard very good manifesting. However, in fact, in the field, it's not as easy as they thought. It's not as easy how they formulating this vision in the Muktamar Muhammadiyah. There's so many challenges, like it's hard to get people into education. It's hard to introduce the benefits of education to the people, to the parents, and it's hard to providing education in a way that sitting in the office and waiting for them to come to school. It's so hard, and they have to go beyond that. Like the students in Unimuda Sorong, they have a community development. They have they reach out to people. They come to the village. They knock the door. They wake up the kids. They try to engage with society in a way that they would be accepted, and then socialize the importance of education. Because, however, the social stigma towards each other are still there in daily activities. Like people would still cannot trust each other because they're different in terms of ethnicity and religion. So it has been very challenging for Muhammadiyah to approach them, and it's very hard for them to make them engage as expected, and it takes years just only for approaching the parents to make them believe that education could help them increase their conditions. It's take a long way and long step to convince them that education is very important, that that this could be a better choice for their livelihood.
I'm sorry,
So-
Miss Dini.
Yes.
5 minutes more, please.
Okay, thank you, Bu. I'll be fast. So this is the implementation of 3 principles of higher education done by Uni Muda. They have a role in building school for elementary school age, based on the observation done in August 2019. Kokoda tribe community has very poor livelihood, education, and health services. And as I said before, according to Director of Uni Muda, the primary education objective is to learn essential life skill such as sanitary, getting dressed, basic literacy for getting access to public services. Uni Muda also assists 8 best vocational high school in Papua and West Papua. So their role not only in like inside the building, but also community reach to social development. This is such an evidence that education professions should be done collaboratively, not only the responsibility of teachers or government, but with the civil society and community. It's very important to engage in the education and learning process. Thank you very much for the chances. I guess I have long presentation, but thank you very much for the chances. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's very interesting presentation, Miss Dini. We know that Islamic education in Papua are challenging. Okay, all the participants have presents all the paper, interesting research results. There may be a lot of questions that come up with the participant. We open a question and answer session. Please, if anyone want to ask, and you can use bahasa, not only English. Please, ladies and gentlemen, the participant in our panel want to ask with our panelists. We wait for your question, please. Raise your hand with using reaction maybe, and then open your speaker. Silakan Bapak Ibu kalau ada yang mau bertanya. We have 30 minutes for discussing 4 topics from our 4 panelists. Please, if other panelists, you can ask with other presenter. Oke, silakan kalau ada yang mau bertanya. Oke, Dini, Miss Dini, please.
Thank you, Bu. I would like to ask Dr. Jazil. You mentioned about how the role of Islamic education in Sri Lanka, and you mentioned about analyzing the syllabus of Islamic content in the curriculum. How this Islamic content has been developed in the curriculum, and how as minority Islam as the minority there could be engaged in the public policy making process, and how you would communicate this in the government, especially for the Ministry of Education and Planning. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for your question. It is a nice question. I forgot to mention that. Yeah, these are important things. Actually, in Sri Lanka, the school curriculum is designed and developed by the National Institute of Education. It is a government institution under the Ministry of Education. Yeah, they involved or engage the scholar of the particular field to develop and the curriculum, design and develop the curriculum. Yeah, there is a revision of curriculum every 5 years. Yeah, I hope I answer your question. Yeah.
Oh, yes. But I would like to ask more about the politics dynamics while you're initiating this curriculum, because as a minority, I don't know, the dynamics there would be different, or it's not a problem as a minority to engage in the national policy.
Yeah, not only politics, but other factor also influencing in designing the curriculum, especially in Sri Lanka. Frequently, there is a change of the political parties. The ruling parties are influencing one area of things. Another, in a 5 years' time, there will be another party. This kind of the political influence is there, but even though we have our own bodies in among the Muslims, for example, if you look into our Muslim community, there are people now, for example, they involved university people and other people from the prominent organization to design and develop the curriculum. But there are different opinion, the heated argument among the, because we have sectarian view, no, those who are belong to the certain sector or section of the religion, all these things are we have. But even though there are some side type of the system we to develop the curriculum, but there is a criticism of the certain party against another party. But as an academic, I always argue for the common curriculum. We have to identify the profile to develop among the learners and develop the ILO, better learning outcome, and make this ILO lead into the lesson plan and other text identification of the text. This is my argument.
Okay. We know that Rohingya, yeah, there are many conflict there. How about that, Mr. Jazil?
Pardon me, please excuse me. Can you repeat your question again? I couldn't get it.
Yeah, we know that there are many conflict like Rohingya, yeah, Rohingya. The people, the Muslim people, they do kill the people, yeah, Muslim people there, Rohingya, yeah.
Yeah. You are
Yeah,
talking about there was a Easter attack, carried out or committed by some extreme Muslim.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to reduce the extremism, we need to develop the certain things from the school level or grassroots level. The young learners must be taught properly, and we are looking into the standard and values to develop among the learners from the school level. Yeah, we need to work on it, but we are looking for your assistance, for this type of the. But I think when I listen to your presentation, you are looking into the education system at a minute level, especially Islamic education. But I have some question or clarification from the co-panelist. Can I have it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think the sister Dini mentioned about the Islamic values and Muhammadiyah values. Yeah, I am always listening to the Muhammadiyah. It is a famous organization. What are those Muhammadiyah values? But they are permitted to develop their values, own values, in the national education. So I want to know more about it.
Yeah, this is for Dini.
Dini, yeah.
Okay, the value of Muhammadiyah.
Thank you. The value of Muhammadiyah is not taught as national curriculum, because we have religious subject. We have 5 religion in Indonesia, and we have 5 different religious subject that taught in primary education, which is Islam, Catholic, Christian, Hindu, and Buddha. And however, for Muhammadiyah, they have their own school system. They have Islamic school that organized by Muhammadiyah from kindergarten to higher education as university. But in my case, that in Papua, in Sorong, West Papua, this organization or Muhammadiyah not explicitly taught this Muhammadiyah value into the school, but they more about social development, outreach to community, not only providing the education. For me, this is very interesting because in any other parts of Indonesia, Muhammadiyah would have their own school system. They would have their own curriculum and thought for Islamic school. But for this Sorong and West Papua, the role of Muhammadiyah is larger than education itself. It's larger than a school system. So the value of Muhammadiyah that I found in my research is that they want to promote tolerance and they want to be a benefit for the human, for the humanitarian purpose. So that's why they're promoting the value of Rahmatan lil Alamin, because they want to be beneficial for the people around them, for the Kokoda people that has not been touched by the civilization. They're still nomadic. So this value could be manifesting towards this community development with some social projects. For example, Muhammadiyah now it's building permanent house in Kokoda community in a way that they would not nomadic anymore, because they think that permanent house would one step or the milestones for civilization. If they have a permanent house, they would not move, so they could build a better community engagement. They would in that village, in that permanent house complex, Muhammadiyah has built mosque. They built their own school for kindergarten and elementary school. They also built health services, small community health services to provide the healthcare for Kokoda people. And they also built such a social activities together to promoting small scale economic growth. Muhammadiyah provide and built village bank program, or we call it in Bahasa BUMDes. Muhammadiyah actively giving this assistance, not only in terms of finance. They give 15 million rupiah or $1,500 a year for this community to have economic activities, so that in a way they would be introduced to any other economics activities or economics form, because previously they are a very agricultural society, and now that Sorong becoming a very big city, there's so many foreign company coming to Sorong, and these are civilization gap between people in Kokoda, because they're still nomadic, and there's so huge big capital of the company who come to West Papua for build oil mining industry, which these people could not enter this industry because there's so lack of literacy. They could not have the same capacity to work in this huge industry because the lack of civilization, the lack of the whole part of knowledge, skills, and experiences. So they are excluded from this whole economic system, for this whole industry in West Papua, though they are indigenous people. So that's why, in a way, Muhammadiyah tried to involve and engage, because the local government and the national government are stepping in the shoes of this industry to build modern economic for in the sake of national development. However, they forget to develop its people first before developing this big industry to support the what we call it capitalism. So
Okay.
the value itself is very large than what we thought in a school building.
Okay, very interesting. We talk about Papua in the same situation maybe with Sri Lanka, yeah, Muslim minority there, Mr. Jazil. Okay, I see.
Yeah, I have
Uh-huh.
another question, madam. And
Okay,
I have another question to
maybe we can give a chance for our participant here.
Yeah. Okay.
Is from Prof.
Priority to
Minda.
them.
Okay, Prof. Minda, write in the chat, one of the most challenging factor in education is ethnicity. Okay, maybe Prof. Minda want to talk about that. Boleh pakai bahasa, Bu? Silakan, Prof. Prof. Minda is one sister from Prof. Srimil Fayeti, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Please.
Thank you
Please.
very much for the chance. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
I
warahmatullahi.
tried to unmute myself, but you didn't allow me. So
Okay.
okay. So one of the most challenging aspect in education is ethnicity, because
Okay.
like when you are talking about ethnicity in Papua, they have cultural values which they have already inherited through generations, right? And then believe in this one. And then education mostly, dominantly introducing them to the values from larger society, modern lives, which many of them contradictory. So this is the problem. But when I listen to your to your presentation, I now believe that religion is one effective way in introducing new culture, new lifestyle to ethnic group. So rather than introducing new cultural values, we introduce what we consider as, this is how to live if you want to be happy in life and the life after, something like that. So my question is, I believe there's some challenges also in using religious approach in the educating in ethnic groups which have this very contradictory culture. So I would like to learn from you, Dini. Yeah, thank you very much, Bu Amira. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Minda.
Yeah. Okay.
Please, Miss Dini, you want to respond it?
Yeah, Bu, as I mentioned before in my presentations, these religious values, not only Islam, but also Catholic and Christian, has been very the major role in developing education, even before Indonesia has been independent. So when we were still colonized by the Dutch, education already operationalized by this religious group in Papua. So what interested is that Papua province, it's led by Catholic and Christian. However, in West Papua, is led by Islamic or Islamic organizations. Muhammadiyah is one of them. So rather than introducing a new culture, what they trying to do is make this Islamic value embedded in this way of life, in this new habit. They're not forcing them to change themselves, but they introduce this way of living in a way that they would understand better. So the purpose is not make them convert to Islam, but make them understand the choices they would have if they have education. If they're educated, they would have different values. They would they would able to access the healthcare. They would able to have choices of, okay, I have opportunities to continue my education in Java province, for example. I mean, in Java Island, for example, because from the rector of Unimuda, he said that the graduate student from Unimuda, they have higher aspirations of education, and they would like to continue their education for master's degree and PhD in Papua, in Java with better quality of education, because they want to be a better person. Like, they have vision of the future, because in this civilization, in their step of civilization, they do not have a concept of future. They do not have aspiration of who they want to be. But after having graduated from university, they would think of what job they would like to have, what skills they like to develop. I understand that Muhammadiyah is not the only organization, but this Islamic belief and value are very valuable for them to educate themselves or to make a better life choices. Thank you, Bu.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, other participant maybe want to ask with our others panelists. We have other topic, yeah, maybe for the newcomer from participant. We talk about innovation in teaching and learning at Islamic kindergarten using creative art. It's come from Prof. Sri Milfayeti, and there was about how to give service for Down syndrome. Yeah, what that, Dr. Asti, your title?
Description of parenting children with special needs.
Okay, please,
Specific for
your
Down syndrome.
question from other participant with our panelists. We wait for your question.
Yeah, I have a question to Professor Sri Milfayati.
Sri Milfayeti, okay.
Yeah, sorry for my pronunciation. I am not familiar with this.
Okay.
Yeah, she was talking about the performing arts, Islamic performing arts,
Yeah.
but music and dancing as a type of the performing arts, I mostly believed it is not in according to the Islamic teaching. But do you think that this type of the performing arts is Islamized in this school on which you are talking?
Okay, Prof. Sri Milfayeti, please to respond it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zadel. Actually, in kindergarten, we do all the model of teaching and learning. But actually, in confessional teaching, we use like, for example, in tahfiz Quran. Sabihi isma rabbikal a'la allazi khalaqa fasawwa Waladhi qaddara fahada. When we talk about the meaning of that sentence, sometimes we can bring the student to outside, and talk about trees and talk about leaf. When we see the trees, we ask to the student, who make these trees? And in that way, we talk to children that sucikanlah nama Tuhanmu, sabbih isma rabbikal a'la. So when one of the leaf,
Okay. Halo, Prof. Milva. Halo, Prof.
who make this color of leaf, one green and one is brown. That when we talk about this, we can ask the children to talk about the leaf, and also we ask them to draw a leaf or to color the leaf, and after that we can also make storytelling about the leaf. And another time we can bring the leaf to the clay. What is mean in English? Clay. Yeah, just clay. Indonesia we said tanah liat. Yeah, clay, and we make a stem from the leaf to we make stem leaf to the clay, and after that we draw it, and we have some kinds of leaf from the fresh clay up to after the creation clay, and this in this situation we just want the children taught how the Al-Quran maybe that they think just flower or just a tree or just a leaf and make them in a new production. Jadi we talk in that creative, how to develop the creativity in the student, how they actually make a passion or production, or how they use the Al-Quran to be attitude in life from the I mean that everything in outside class, and also what is it mean by how to know the Allah from the outside. That's I mean, Mrs. Jazir. Jadi,
Yes, Jazakallah khairan. Thank you very much for your response. Actually, my intention is we are talking about the Islamic preschool, Islamic nursery or something, but there are general tendency to criticize this type of the art format, performing art format. There is a criticism on it, but my request is we need to develop the model, Islamic model for this type of the format, Islamic art, Islamic dance, Islamic music. It is necessary to train our young children according to the, but nowadays most of the children are very much interested in dancing, music, other type of the art. But there is a proper model, Islamic model available for them to train them according to the Islamic values and principles. This is my worries. That's why I raised this question. But I think the Indonesian educationalist can focus on this and share it with others like us. Yeah, thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, we have only 5 minutes more. This is a question from Risa Nihaya in the chat. I have question for Dini. It is interesting to know the Uni Muda is such as an inclusive campus. Risa Nihaya, you can unmute your speaker, please. Just only 1 minute.
Thank you. Yeah, it is very interesting to me to know that Unimuda is such an inclusive campus, because we all know in Indonesia, Islamic schools or campuses tend to accepting only Muslim people, while
Okay,
in
I'm
contrast,
sorry, Risa. Do you come from what university? Okay.
from University of Indonesia.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I know is like Catholic and Christian campuses or schools are more, we can say, maybe it's okay for them to accept students from different religion. So how could this happen in Sorong? Do you think there is like, because Islam is a minority, then it's because of limited market that they have, so it's okay to open the opportunity for other students from different religions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Risa. Miss Dini, one minute for you to respond this question, please.
Okay, thank you. Exactly the point, because Islam is minority there. So if you want to recruit only Islamic students, you wouldn't get any students there, new enrollment. And I know that it's very different within Papua and any other parts of Indonesia. And I live in Malang. In Malang, there also Muhammadiyah Malang, right? So the University of Muhammadiyah Malang also accepting students from different religions. So maybe not the majority cases, but some cases, some campuses are accepting other students from other religions. So
okay,
that's
the last question. This is for Dr. Asti from Prof. Minda. The issue of learning loss must be incentive for children of special need. Could you please talk about it? Yeah.
Yes.
1 minute, please.
Thank you, Prof. Minda. I said that there is lack of intention from stakeholder. In this case, the government and our society for equitable treatment and welfare for the children with special needs. So we wait for the policy from our government to make a best education for our children with special needs. That's in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Asti. There are not enough time for us to discuss about the interesting topic. Yeah, let me give applause for our 4 panelists. Alhamdulillah. Thank you for all the panelists who have presents and a very interesting question and answer. And thank you for all participants here who give attention for our panel. Annual Conference for Islamic Studies give us all the opportunity to meet virtually. This is academic friendship will continue, and we close our panel. Let's say Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you so much for the committee, Mr. Zia, who arranged this panel. Okay, we close with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Just a moment. Can I take a picture, please? Can open your camera. Just wait a minute. I counted 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Prof. Milva, Prof. Minda, Dr. Jazil, Miss Dini, Dr. Asti. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miss Amira.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Warahmatullah.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank
Amira.
you, Dr. Jazil.
Yeah,
See
it was a very useful,
see you
yeah,
in
very
a,
effective.
yeah, in another